Good morning, good morning, student. Today we have a second chapter that is about the rights in the Indian Constitution, and this is in the second book, Indian Constitution at Work. Before this, we in the first part or in the first chapter we discuss about the Indian Constitution, its frame making, and all about the Indian Constitution, how it is formed, why it is needed. And in this part, we will discuss about its main feature, that is its fundamental rights that are in the Indian Constitution. Let's start the lesson. So, the rights or the fundamental rights are the unique features of the Indian Constitution that are added after the independence. Look at the first instance. This is the about the working of a labor. During the periods of 1982 Asian Games are held in the New Delhi. That period when a lot of contractors are there who are working for set up the stadiums and the other works related to the Asian Games. These contractors paid less wages to their laborers that are required according to the minimum wages rate. But these contractors pay less wages than their minimum wage. So there is a case of exploitation. When a team of the social scientists studied the poor conditions, then they set up petitions in the Supreme Court about the exploitations of a labor. So after the interference of the Supreme Court, these labor class gets its rights and equal pay. Look at the second picture. A man is sitting on a chair with a sad look. A lot of sadness is shown in his face. He is a person, the name the Michael Lelongs, or 23rd years, and he was arrested from under the grievous injuries in Assam when he was presented in the court of Guwahati. Then the court feels that he was mentally unable to stand for a trial, so he was sent to a mental hospital at a Tezpur. Under the mental or under a doctor's or conditions of a doctor feel that he was still unable to stand for a trial. But after the successful doctor's work, and then doctor wrote twice to the jail authorities in the period of the 1967 and the 1997 that now he was able to stand for a trial. But government authorities didn't pay any attention, and he was not released from the judicial custody. But in the July 2005, when he was 77, a team of Indian National Human Rights visit and study the story of our jails. Then he feels that he need to release. Then he released from a jail. Feel that he spent almost his 54 years in a jail under a case whose trial is never open. What a shame for Indian democracies. So everybody must have a life and liberties which are provided by the modern states, and Indian states have a feel proud of its democracies. But these kind of instances feel that is we have a safe in the Indian democracies or in India's. So by the jails instance we have to think that everybody have a right for a fair and a speedy trial. So let's take about the what is in the India's and how Indian democracy works. In India, every individual have some rights. These rights are essential for the growth of every individual's. So, in the most of the democratic countries have some rights which are called the basic rights or the ordinary rights have their constitutions. So list of these rights which are included in their constitution and protected and provided by their various bodies of a government called a Bill of Rights. Indian constitution also have a rights which are called the fundamental rights. So these rights must be protected by the various amendments. In India, these rights are protected by a strong constitutional bodies, and set of Indian constitution is such that no bodies provide harm or any interference in any of fundamental rights of Indian citizens. But individuals and the private government organizations always works in such a way that these fundamental rights sometimes harmed. So, it's not a first time that Indian citizens feels. It is a long story before the independence. During the period of a British government in India, a committee which are made for referendum or which provide Indians to provide some of basic laws. The committee of Motilal Nehru's which are held in 1928 recommend to the British government that Indians need some of basic laws or laws. So after the struggle, the demand for the fundamental rights are continued in India. So leaders have no two double opinion or divided opinions on the constitutions. Every leaders feels that India need to be a fundamental rights. So after the independence, constitutional committees always stress on fundamental rights. But these fundamental rights are different from some ordinary rights. Ordinary rights are protected and provided by the some of only basic laws, but fundamental rights are protected by the strong law, special recommendations that to change any ordinary laws, the government needs just ordinary majorities, but to change the fundamental rights, government need the special majority, special work to change, and it is not so possible in modern states to violate any law by the legislators and executive. It mostly acceptable in the case of ordinary laws. But if government sets any law, any recommendations against any fundamental rights, and mostly these laws and works are illegal, declared illegal by the Indian judiciary, because Indian judiciaries have the power to declare any law illegal which are against the formation of a constitution or especially against any fundamental rights. But both have one similarity, that both ordinary as well as the fundamental rights are restricted in the case of emergencies, because that time government need to put some restrictions on the fundamental rights. Look at the first instance. A woman is about a news channel. There was a news channel which in that news channels almost 10 employees work as a news readers, and out of 10 4 women are there, and these women are age of 45 plus. News channel authority didn't permission any woman to read the news. But there are the two men who are also the 25 have but get the chance for their news reading. So it is not a discrimination on the gender base because if the men have the right for their news reading, then why women not? There, there was a person whose name is Sudesh Kumar who wants to come to his place. His friend is also want to visit with him. Both of them start his visiting towards his place. On the way of a roadside, a tea stall, they sit and ask the tea makers to provide them a tea. After some time, he give a decorated or a good cup of tea to Sudesh Kumar, but he also gave earthen cup to his friend. When Sudesh Kumar verified that the tea stall owner said that you are from a high caste, but your friend is from a low caste. It's not a discrimination on the basis of color caste. Should these discriminations provided by the Indian Constitution should is right that we take a gender-based discrimination or a color-based discrimination. But Indian Constitution provides a equality. Equality means every person in society have equal rights. This is the basic stress of the first fundamental right from which are provided by the Indian Constitution. These fundamental rights start from a third of a constitution from Article 14 to 32, and equality right starts from 14 to 18. Under the Article of 14, everybody have equality before the laws and equal protections by the law. Laws which are made by the Constitution should be equal to all the citizens of India or all the natives of India, whether they belong to any high caste or a lower caste, whether they participate in the law making or not. Article 15. No discriminations should be held on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, or a birthplace. Like in the second instance of Sudesh Kumar, the tea stallers made a discrimination on the basis of a caste because his friends belonged to a low caste. These kind of provisions are end up by the Constitution. Article 16. Everybody have equal opportunities in the matters of for the public employment, whether they belong to a high caste or a low caste, but every have equal opportunities to grow up their chances. Then, and above the untouchabilities, there is a lot of untouchabilities on the base of color caste in the traditional societies on the period of British, but this was end up after the constitutions. Then Article 18. Indian Constitution end up all the titles like a sir, knight, but there are some titles that are related to the military, like Padam Veer, Ratan. These Padam Shri, these are titles which are provided by the states for the brave honorees. But some of the academic titles are also there. Without the military and academic, no title should be accepted by any of citizens. You to think about the reservation. Reservation is a policy which provides the equality to the lower caste, because a lower caste needs some steps to set up their upwards. So this is not a different that everybody have an equal chance. These are the fundamental, these are the main equality rights. Thank you.